Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And we're back to cover episode 18 of season 4 of Fox's retelling of the Dark Knight mythology, entitled That's Entertainment. So join us as we venture into Batman's birthplace.
And explore Gotham.
That's right, Dragon. That's right. After 4 seasons of build-up, we finally have the true blue reveal of the Joker.
Yes.
But do you want to know who the true Joker is, Dragon? The true Joker in our heart of hearts.
Well, yes, Tiki, I do.
Okay, folks, the true Joker in our heart of hearts. It's always Mr. Joshua Thomas of Just Giglet. And folks, they have a mission for you. What's that mission, Dragon?
Look, folks, that mission very simply is they need our views. That's right, folks. Like, they need kind of our internet votes, if you will. They need our views. They need our attention. They need not just attention in the broad sense, they need attention for a specific awesome episode of Harley Quinn, the Joker versus the Real World. Episode 5, The Robbery. Folks, check it out. Send it to everyone you know. Watch it. Rewatch it. You just refresh the page a couple times. Whatever you want to do. Just give it all the views you can. Watch it like crazy. Tell people that, because if you do that, we're going to get more episodes. Like, watch that. Or just binge the whole thing, get to episode 5, and you say, oh my god, that was so good. How do we get more? Well, your answer's right before you, folks. Rewatch that episode, get the views up. The views go up high enough, and we're going to get more. It'll be wonderful. It'll be like Christmas. It'll be like a clown prince of crime Christmas. It'll be wonderful. So, folks, be a good audience. Do that. Yeah, if you really like it, then you can watch our discussion of said thing. But again, if it comes down to watching our discussion of said thing and watching said thing, watch said thing, then watch the discussion. All right. Episode 5.
Be a good audience, just like Jerome's captive audience in this episode. Am I right?
Yes.
All right. So, Dragon, I am very, very impressed with this episode.
Yeah?
Yeah. Season 4 just continues to impress me. I got to admit, they pulled the whole bait and switch on the Joker. It kind of came off a lot better than I was expecting it to, and I'm pretty much sold on the whole thing. I got to admit, there's one major flaw. There's one major flaw about this episode that takes me back to season 1, and it kind of makes me leery about where we're going in the future, especially next episode. And I'm not sure if you feel the same way about it. We'll address it when we get to it. It comes up pretty early on in the episode. But other than that, yeah, it seems like this is a tradition, right? To have a Jerome holding an audience captive episode. It's like a big event, at least from seasons 2 and 3. So this is just kind of the big capper to the Jerome arc, and I'm really excited to see where they go in the future. I think they have all their cards in place for a really exciting Joker storyline post Jerome, which I'm pretty surprised by, but I think they pulled it off.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So how do we start it out?
So, we start the episode off with a great homage to one of the great Batman stories. We reference Year 1 in the opening, and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We reference the famous scene from Year 1, where, of course, we take the Bruce Wayne Batman of it all out of this scene, but at the same time, you can tell exactly what they're referencing if you know this story. Basically, we have some head honchos at Gotham. Basically there's corruption here, but they're all like they're trying to be above board. But famously in the book, like these are like the high society kind of pillars of Gotham who are either blatantly corrupt, or in this case, subtextually corrupt, where it's the old "you've eaten well" scene, where Batman kind of crashes their dinner, and he basically sends a message to the corrupt crime world of Gotham, saying, "You've eaten well. I'm coming for you. The vigilantism is going to bring you down." Essentially, that's what that whole scene is, crashing the dinner party. So in this case, either like a luncheon or a dinner where we have the corrupt high society lights, where we have the interim mayor, Mayor Pritchard, who, by the way, is played by Peter McRobbie, who we know, and I knew I recognized this guy, and I had to look it up just to make sure I wasn't crazy. It's Father Lantom from Daredevil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he was fun in this episode, too. He was kind of a fun
guy. Nice.
I knew I liked this guy for some reason. So let's see, here's at this little shindig. We got We have Mayor Pritchard. We have the commissioner, who still does not have a name, by the way. Just the beginning of this season, still no name. And, well, it's not really going to matter by the end of this episode, but still, so they couldn't have given him a name at least.
Womp womp.
So we have the commissioner. We have a cardinal, like, religious. I believe he's a cardinal. He's dressed like one.
Mm-hmm.
We have the moral authority chairwoman, and probably someone who's associated with that group, the mother of the year. That's going to be fun. I just love she has a button that says Mother of the Year. So basically, the moral authority of Gotham and this Mother of the Year, they're speaking to the crime and corruption in the city. Again, they're kind of approaching the mayor, who's kind of taken over. Who's taken over of late, saying, "What are you going to do about all this crime and corruption, all this chaos, like this Arkham breakout and everything? What are you going to do? How's it going to affect the city?" And as he's basically giving like kind of a BS, like, he's, "Oh, okay, come on, there's nothing. We have it completely under control. The lights go out, and again in that year one way." And again, I was so excited, and it went differently. But I was like, "Yeah, they referenced it." We get the Legion of Horribles crashing the little party.
Yeah.
The Legion of Horribles enter, and they take them all prisoner. They cuff them in the back of a truck.
I really like how they build up Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
Frozen windows. Mr. Freeze in general, I think, in this episode. He doesn't have much character development, but I like how they're using him.
Yeah, Nathan Dorrows, I love that. I love the introduction. We've said this before. The introduction of Mr. Freeze in Gotham was really good. And Nathan Dorrows is an excellent actor. I loved him. I loved him in the early seasons of in House of Cards. I thought he was wonderful. And he was in Preacher. He's a really good actor. I can't get enough of the guy. I hope they give him stuff to do maybe in the next season. But I mean, the Mr. Freeze suit's also looking cooler every time we kind of see it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, as of now, I feel like, even though I feel like we don't really have time to develop him right now, but he's a good presence.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's kind of us getting a Batman show within a kind of a proto Batman show through Mr. Freeze.
Sure.
Anyway, so they're all taken prisoner, they're all cuffed in the back of the truck. I like the staging of this, by the way. I like they're kind of cuffed on like this railing, and they're kind of moving back and forth. And essentially the mayor, and I love how corrupt this mayor is, by the way. And again, this the Peter McRobbie, he's so fun as this uber corrupt mayor, because he's pleading with all the villains one by one. One by one. He instantly offers up the police pension fund, saying, "Hey, he's talking to Jerome, like, hey, I'll
right.
I love that he recognized. I love that he. I'll say this. I really like that he recognizes everyone. That he knows Firefly by name. This is a corrupt guy who pays attention. I really respect that.
I think that does go to the fact that he's not. He might be corrupt, but he's not incompetent.
Yeah.
Like that's what the Richard Kind mayor was. Richard Kind was incompetent.
Yeah. So he instantly offering the police pension fund to kind of buy his way out of it, again, corrupt to save his own skin. And again, we have a group here, but Jerome turns it down because obviously he's not up money. I love that everyone in this group has a reason to kind of turn on the mayor, not accept this offer, not just for the money offer, because each of them have a vendetta against either Gotham, the corruption of the city, or politicians, because again, Bridget was put in Indian Hill because of the corruption in Gotham, like guys like this, and he calls everyone a lunatic, and that insults the Mad Hatter. So it's like, okay, I don't like this guy's passing judgment on everybody. So lunatic rubs him the wrong way, and then he goes to the one guy in the room who was a mayor too, by the way. Goes the Penguin in the truck, saying, "Come on, Oswald, you go, and certainly you can see reason here." And Penguin's playing his cards right here, where he's siding with Jerome in this moment.
Dragon, we have another stop on the Oswald Cobblepot Literary Odyssey.
Tell me you haven't not going to have me fish through my library to figure this one out. Who do you got?
Well, it's from a franchise that you're not really privy to, but I hope you at least recognize the name of the character. Severus Snape from Harry Potter.
Well, how so?
Well, because Severus Snape in Harry Potter, he was the character who had sort of the long-term plan, and he was hiding in the shadows, pretending to be loyal to Voldemort until the end of the last book, where he kind of nobly sacrifices himself. And in this episode, we kind of mirror that with Oswald, kind of playing a double agent role. But by the end of the episode, he doesn't sacrifice himself, but he does pull off a genuinely heroic act. So,
I'll admit, bit of a leap, but I'll go with it. I'll go with it on you. Okay, I
Yeah, you
appreciate the
know,
theory.
it's not like a great classic literature by any means, but Harry Potter is it's a new classic. It's very popular. It's kind of we're jumping ahead in years.
All right. Okay, let's see. All right. Oh, by the way, I love the shot of just, it's a great shot. This is a classic kind of Joker Penguin shot of Jerome holding Oswald, like taking like he's his buddy and like kind of holding him close as he's like pridefully
And then
saying,
Penguin just kind of gives like an awkward smile.
"Exactly." I love that shot. It's great. So basically, Jerome has his own version of kind of a Why So Serious scene, which I appreciate. It's not like a ripoff of Why So Serious. It's kind of his own like lightning of the sea needs to stop taking itself so seriously. It's kind of
Mhm.
Mr. Basically, he tests out he demonstrates his gas, the Joker gas to on the mom of the year. And my God, so we teased this effect at the end of last episode, and it was like a little tease, a little test at the very end, which it was horrifying. But now we're seeing the gas showcased even more so. My God, tell me it's horrifying, right? It is horrifying.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially like when she first gets it, and the movement on the body is like a seizure almost.
And that's the thing. That's why I also love the staging is because like she's writhing around, and, like she can't move. She's like in a stationary position again, as her like she's convulsing, and that's like the mouth extends, and again we basically give everyone like a classic Joker face, with the white face, the blood red smile, the bulging eyes, the whole thing, and we get like her POV, like her point of view. It's real scary, like the world's
Mhm.
distorted and crazy. It gives you like an inkling of like what the full blown Joker will kind of see in the world. His perspective on the insane world is.
I love the subtle hint that the last thing we see before we come to the Gotham logo is Oswald looking worried. He's just like,
Yes.
oh, this is not a good situation.
Oh yeah. And this is
All
the kind
right.
of thing that Oswald's been fighting ever since he's been on the show. He just wants to be kind of the sophisticated. He wants to be the in between the freaks of Gotham and the mob underworld. He wants to be the king of the mobsters, which is basically a mobster with a fancy title. That's what he wants in Gotham. Yet again, like he just wants to be maybe have the reputation of a freak, but he does not want to actually be in their world. He doesn't want to be a Jerome. He just wants to be like the most sophisticated, feared mobster
Mhm.
in Gotham. So this is like his worst nightmare of like taking all the order out of organized crime. It's like, hey, they're organized, but they're all crazy. All right. So yeah. All right. So after that, it's Bruce's birthday. I
Happy
loved all this.
birthday, Master B.
I love all of this. I'm not kidding. All this was some of those heartwarming stuff to me. I was like, oh my God, it's so adorable.
Oh, it really is. You're not kidding. You're not
It's like a
kidding.
rare.
And
I was so bemused by all the happy Bruce Wayne moments, and you rarely see it though. It's such a happy Bruce Wayne.
and not only that, Dragon, but it's like every episode in this season, they've really crafted. This is why season 4 is my favorite season. Is that Bruce Wayne in particular? They've really crafted a path for him. I mean, I don't think this show has ever gotten so skilled with the actual character arc of each episode. He's getting closer and closer to Batman. Like each episode, it's like by the end of the season, I'm gonna buy the fact that come season 5, this is going to be a full on Batman show.
Yeah. So Alfred gives Bruce a gift, and Alfred, we're in the garage. We're in the car garage, and Alfred's regaling us with this. I love this story, by the way, and I love how Sean Pertwee tells this story. He basically tells the story of how Bruce Wayne, just the idea that Alfred loves Bruce's birthday, because all these happy memories from Bruce's birthday, and it's such a cute little story about how on Bruce's 7th birthday he was given a little red wagon, and he filled that red wagon with rocks. And Alfred's like, Master Bruce, what are you doing with all those rocks? And he says, I'm gonna build a home. I'm gonna build a secret, it's like a secret place for my little red wagon. It's like, oh my God, that's so cute.
I mean, he could build a pretty decent shelter just using rocks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dragon. That's a really obscure Survivor quote. I just had to work that in there. I'm sorry. I could build a pretty decent shelter just using rocks. I had to get that out of my system. Dragon, carry on.
But still, man, it's such a cute little story that, like,
No,
again,
you're
like,
not
it shows
wrong.
like.
You're not wrong.
So he gives, and I gotta tell you this. I almost teared up with this scene just as a
The
Batman fan, and
hug.
also being a lover of the Batmobile and all this stuff. So basically, he
Oh yeah, the
gives.
Batmobile is great. That's what I'm saying about the the whole build up to Batman. It's like each episode we're getting closer, and here we are.
So Alfred
We're
gives Bruce essentially his first Batmobile, kind of the Bruce Mobile, like, if you will, kind of the proto Batman.
the Bruce Mobile. I like that.
It's the proto Bat car, so let's call it the Bruce Mobile for the time being. Until it gets like a Bat fin or something on, it's the Bruce
Uh,
Mobile. And again, I love and Tiki. This is like, for me, if I were like, if I were like in the real world, trying to have like the closest thing I could have to a Batmobile without giving like all the Bat details. I'm a big fan of the Mustang. I love the Mustang as a car, and I was
you know what bugs me though, Dragon, is like just the fact that you're saying that means that the product placement here is working.
But I do just think I've always loved the Mustang from a design standpoint. I've always loved the Mustang. It's like, oh my god, it's like, I've always, like, if you could always, I've always considered like various ways you could paint and kind of style a Mustang, like, and give it like maybe like give it like Buzz Lightyear colors. You can give like all sorts of like kind of cool stuff. You can
Uh-huh.
it just has such a wonderful design, and this thing, just seeing kind of my love for the Mustang car, and then applied to Batman like this, and then seeing it actually done in the show. And again, as like the proto, as the proto Batmobile, and what's even cooler, okay, so it's all black. It's like a special kind of black. It's got tinted windows, and the coolest thing, it's got very high tech armor plating on it. So basically, after he shoots it, it's that like bulletproof glass, bulletproof. It doesn't even leave a scratch on the car. My God, it's like, oh, it's. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm geeking out over the car here. Anyway.
And then we get my favorite part of the scene, which is the hug.
I know the hug. That's the hug is also kind of teared me up. I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
Alfred. I'm saying, like, after that little, like, he's giving him the keys to being Batman essentially, and he hugs him. It's like such a great show of support for they're in each other's world. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna help you be Batman in the future. It's like, oh, it's so reassuring and so cute. And this birthday subplot is so sweet, and I'm so glad we've gotten to this point. All right. Meanwhile,
At the Gotham at the GCPD.
yes. So Jim fills Bullock in on the basically fills Bullock in on what's going on, and Bullock says, "Oh, well, I was going to tell you, I got $100. I won $100 on a scratch off, and I was figuring we go to the track. But we can do your TK. I'm going to say this again. The Bruce birthday subplot I do love, but I got to tell you, just I love the idea of just Jim and Bullock doing kind of like friend day trips together. And this idea of like them having like a fun day at the track, I want to see that episode. If someone could do like a fan illustration of that, or like someone like
And of course, when they're at the tracks, they have to get lunch.
that's what I'm saying. I want to see this story so bad. I know all
Oh
the
my
bad
God.
stuff this episode's gonna happen, so they gotta react to it. But seriously,
They tease you, Dragon. It's like the theater attraction in Jurassic Park that they get off of. You know what I mean? It's like we want to see it.
Exactly. Just tell me you weren't like just a little bit intrigued, but I wonder what that would look like. Anyway, so Bullock had like a fun day in mind. They're like, oh, stupid Jerome, and now we gotta throw. Anyway, okay. So point is, Jim fills Bullock in. Okay, we got we're looking for basically we're still in the hunt for Jerome. Meanwhile, Penguin calls Jim, and I love this little back meeting here. I always love these Jim Penguin scenes where Penguin, he's in the evidence locker essentially, in the back, kind of like the back room of the GCPD. And Penguin tips Jim off about the laughing gas. So basically, summarize a little here. He tips him off at the laughing gas plan. And this was clever on Jerome's part, that no one has all the information. Everyone has a specific job and a specific kind of role.
It's very Dark Knight Joker.
Yeah. In the plan. And also a little bit of Scott Snyder Joker. He always has his bases covered. He always has a way of double-crossing the villain should he need to. So that's bearing in. And the death of the family specifically, he's always had kind of those. Anyway. So Penguin, I love the open and honest Penguin is here. Just saying he's very scared of Jerome, and he was hoping things get back to the good old days, kind of the season one, like mainly season two days for him, I guess. Like the beginning, remember the beginning of season two before Gallivant showed up, everything was going Penguin's way at the beginning of that season. Those are the Penguin's old days. That's what he's thinking of. He wants to go back to the King of Gotham days, a simpler time. And of course, he has the winning line here for the Penguins is an honest. He's an Jim. I'm an honest criminal interested in money and power. It's a classic Jim and Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
It's classic. It's classic scene between those two, and
I think that we've come to a point with the Penguin where it's just impossible to look at him as anything other than an anti-hero. Like, he's certainly not an antagonist at this point.
At this point, yeah, but he's always got that sort of he's very much like Sidney Greenstreet. That is very much what you do with a Penguin type. Where, he's the guy who facilitates the crime, doesn't necessarily, he's not a bad guy committing crimes. He's the guy he's the guy profiting off the crimes. That's kind of what you can do with him. So,
but by the same token, he's also a guy that we can actually root for in terms of, actually keeping some civility with the city.
Exactly, and that's kind of that Sidney Greenstreet quality where again the guy is he's our bad guy, but at the same time you kind of there's a charisma there. Like kind of like I'm rooting for this guy. Like Maltese Falcon, like Sidney Greenstreet, Maltese Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so just the classic, Jim and Penn kind of calling themselves on each other, like you don't have them yet. Well, you're not giving me anything I can use here. Anyway, so Penguin he leaves in a rush, and Bullock gives Jim the Gotham Square tip.
I kind of like the subtle thing that Bullock is walking in on, like Gordon's like back alley meeting with Penguin. It's kind of like Gordon getting more and more entrenched in the dark side, and Bullock kind of being kind of a secondhand witness to that.
Yeah, and of course, it's always one of my favorite ideas in the show that Jim Gordon is responsible for whatever the Penguin does. So those two are kind of joined at the hip, the same way that Bruce has taken responsibility for Jerome and his crimes.
Mm-hmm.
So Paisley Square, right? Paisley Square, and what's going on at Paisley Square, Tiki?
A rock concert.
Yeah, it's the Gotham Music Festival. Get your tickets
now.
Oh, here's a clever thing I noticed on the rewatch, Tiki. I was really impressed by this. We see that Mad Hatter actually had a hand in this because it is sponsored by WZPZ, which is the radio station the Mad Hatter was at when he was controlling Gotham.
Okay.
So he might have sponsored this event. Basically, they needed the space, and Jerome wanted like a stage and an audience, and basically kind of a packed crowd. So most likely, Jerome told Mad Hatter to orchestrate all this.
Nice, good catch.
So and I love the entrance in the rewatch too. I caught this that Jerome is just kind of dancing on stage for the big reveal. Like he posed like a dancer on stage, turns around, he takes it, really beats the guy with the mic stand. So Jerome needs a stage
style.
Yeah, right. So this is the big plan. The big plan has gone into action, which is not good for Gothamites. And we see 6 chairs, 4 hostages take their seats. These 4 hostages are on stage, sitting in the chairs, and they have bombs around their necks, which of course is a Suicide Squad reference.
Introducing Mayor Pritchard, Commissioner Reynolds, Archbishop McGregor, and this lady, whoever she is.
Oh, they did give the commissioner a name. I forgot. Okay, it's Reynolds. There we go. At least they gave him something before. Well,
I just love the gag that he doesn't care who the lady's name is.
Yeah. So, of course, maybe like a little tongue-in-cheek Dark Knight reference. This is tonight's entertainment. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
very much like the whole. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's entertainment, all that stuff. All right, let's see. So, and of course, tonight's entertainment is dynamite, and he establishes, he establishes the trigger, and if I don't get what I want, boom, basically, I start blowing heads off.
You leave kind of like Suicide Squad colors on them, essentially.
Essentially, yeah. And if you leave, you die. Based on the audience, they can't go anywhere. They gotta endure all this. And let's see, there's only one man who can get Jerome what he wants. And I love as he looks into the camera, very creepy. It's kind of a Joker bit as well as it's very much kind of a Dark Knight Joker bit. It's always using cameras and whatever you have around you. Captain James Gordon. right in the store and stuff. Ooh.
Charles
Meanwhile,
Gordon with all the casual, uh with all the mundanity of like like a PA system grocery store, like James Gordon spill on aisle 9, calling James Gordon.
you gotta imagine Jim's gonna be. Yeah, you're right, Tiki. If he were grocery shopping, it would be like he has like an instinct of like, oh god, someone's calling my name. Must be part of like a death trap or something. He'll like give like a sigh of relief. Just imagine Ben McKenzie doing that, just going grocery stop while he's getting milk or something for a milk mustache. And he's because imagine like a campaign of Ben McKenzie doing you
Oh
got
my
milk,
god.
got milk. Tegan, imagine how cute this would be. Imagine this for a brief moment. Imagine like old the old Superman Kellogg's commercials. You know, the old cereal commercials from the Adventures of Superman with George Reeves and Jimmy Olsen. They'd eat cereal in the morning.
Mhm.
You'd have like a got milk freeze frame of Bullock eating donuts, like little donut holes or like little donut bits, and dunking them in milk. And Jim with a milk mustache. Imagine how perfect that would be.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, okay, so so tangent aside, let's get to kind of some not so thrilling stuff of the episode.
Okay, I'm glad you're in agreement with me, Dragon.
I
Oh
mean, the
man.
ending of it spices things up, but the whole story as a whole, though, yeah, it's a drag in the episode.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Dragon. I was getting season 1 flashbacks because each time we got back to Barbara, I was like, "Oh, do we have to go back to the Barbara stuff? Isn't that a shame?"
Yeah, it's a shame. I'm gonna say this again because of the ending and the promo for next episode, which we'll get to. I'm holding out a little hope, but again, it doesn't really until that happens. It doesn't fix this.
You know what? I'm willing to give this the benefit of the doubt though and say like because the other stuff in the episode surrounding it was so high caliber with all the Jerome stuff that I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and say that it's just possible that in comparison to the Jerome stuff, this stuff really doesn't look good. But yeah, it's not good. It's not great. It's
That that's fair, but even comparing it like that, it's still like let's say it's average, not bad. Let's just say it's average in comparison, but definitely, you know.
I mean, it's not good when you're watching a show. It's Dragon. This is why I tuned out of The Walking Dead when I did, is because The Walking Dead, much like this, I was experiencing moments where certain story arcs would come on. It's like I do not care about this set of characters, and it's like I don't know because Barbara's just been on such an upswing recently. So let's get into it. Let's get
Right,
into
so
it.
we have Zhang, and basically, I would presume we have Zhang. I believe a Chinese outfit. I believe they're part of like a Chinese outfit of kind of the mob that one of the, like a Chinese mob in Gotham. That's a guess. Like they're not connecting any specific group. I'm just saying that Zhang again. Here's the thing. It's like I should. Remember, there used to be an entertainment factor, just Barbara kind of taking care of business, and she was really good at the beginning of the season. You know, she was taking care of business, like selling guns and everything.
Uh-huh.
And now it's just because one, we gave her a little too much power in this episode, and secondly, we're just in the middle of something where again I don't care about these guys. I'm not seeing any cleverness here. It's just like this real prickish guy Zhang is like he's coming to Tabitha and Barbara to gripe about his prick crime boss brothers. He is my brother though, and you have insulted. Well, you mistreated our staff. That does not matter.
A two dropped a piano on his head.
That's the only way you make that interesting. But you see what I mean, though? It's just like I don't. Why is he so passionate about his brother? It just sounds like okay, he was a prick that kicked him out, and now he's like defending his brother's honor. Your brother doesn't have any honor. What are you talking about? Like, what is happening? We went from bring me James Gordon to this.
You're absolutely right, Dragon. There's a big disconnect from what's going on in the episode, and also you hit the nail on the head. Babs just got way too much power way too quickly, and it's sloppy writing, frankly.
So essentially, what happens is okay. So this guy's like making like idle threats, and they're about to kind of like make a move on Tabitha. She's already acting. Of course, the kind of the feminized. I say feminized not in a negative sense. Just say feminized in the sense of we kind of weed them out unnecessarily last episode. Now it's like I guess like 4 or 5 assassins, maybe because they want to give her too much power, despite the fact she's got 4 very well trained assassins now at her beckoning call. Basically, the League of Assassins, they kind of like shuriken star these guys to death, kill them off real fast. Tabitha, essentially, just to boil it down, let's move through it fast. Tabitha, she feels replaced and she feels kind of useless now. She's got like 4 other assassins here. And essentially, just to make it a little more entertaining, essentially the leader of the assassins here is just kind of coming to Barbara saying, "Surely you want us to do more than this." Basically, the League wants Barbara to fulfill Ra's al Ghul's destiny. More accurately, fulfill Ra's al Ghul's legacy. It's different.
Yep.
So essentially, that's what they want her to do this episode. Hey, why don't you become, do Ra's al Ghul stuff? All right. Essentially what the episode is.
pretty much, Dragon. That's the long and short of it. Yeah.
And meanwhile, on the icier pastures, Mr. Freeze is using some cool freeze tech to commandeer a lab.
Oh, I love the freeze bombs, Dragon, and as soon as I saw them, I knew you'd like them too.
Yeah, good old freeze. Again, Tiki, as you said, Tiki, you called this very well this season. We're getting a lot of Arkham City references here, because in Arkham City, Mr. Freeze in that game, honestly, if you added like a single pane of glass to the front of the costume, he actually looks a lot like the Arkham City Mr. Freeze. Honestly, just give him that one pane of glass in front of his face, and he'd be pretty much even.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, what I'm saying is like we have like a lot of extra freeze tech and stuff that he uses like other freeze devices in the Arkham City game, and that's maybe kind of a cool, like, kind of we're setting some stage for some stuff. We're doing a lot of Arkham City stuff this season. So they commandeer a lab with the Scarecrow to get so they can make more gas. The Hills like terrified scientists later, like, hey, more gas. Did you notice it looks like the Scarecrow gives her like a napkin with all this written on it?
Yeah.
That's just terrifying. Didn't you have any stationery? I like to work with what's around me. Just do it. Again, Tiki, so far, they've recast the Scarecrow, but they're not moving the mask, so it doesn't really make a difference. That's cool.
Dragon, I kind of hope that they just stick to that.
I don't see why they wouldn't do that so far, because again, they're going with full-blown Scarecrow, and no Jonathan Crane. Again, the whole idea with that last story we got with the Scarecrow was Jonathan Crane went away, so he's
exactly.
Point is, he's just a Scarecrow who also answers to the name Crane, but it's all Scarecrow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Jim arrives to. So Jim, tell me you caught this, D. So Jim arrives, and the band is playing the sixth. Under Jerome's command, is playing the '60s Batman theme on air.
Yes.
I lost my mind at that. Oh my god! Yes.
It's just kind of like the mission statement of the show, right? Dark and twisted '60s Batman.
So Jim bravely, I really like how this episode's shot. By the way, we have like a lot of good. They could easily be like crowd shots, like we've seen a million times before, but something just feels kind of epic about it. Later on, we have a wonderfully shot crowd scene. But this is good too. It's Jim kind of bravely in the crowd, calling Jerome out on his terrorism, calling him a terrorist. And also, I could be wrong here because Jim hasn't really had a plea. I'm trying to think if it was with the. Yeah, I think it was at the interim mayor, and Peter. I don't know if Peter McRobbie was the mayor earlier in the season. It's been a while, folks. Sorry, it was like way at the beginning of like season 4. Whenever Jim was made captain, I know we had a scene with this guy. It was either similar to Peter McRobbie or just someone who was him or someone looked like him. Regardless, he sorry. My point is, like, I don't know if Jim's like Jim called that guy out on corruption, so he's kind of calling out calling out like the mayor. Of course, he knows we don't deal with terrorists, and that's kind of Jim giving the mayor a rile, saying, "Hey, Mr. Corrupt Mayor, I don't like how you're doing things, and you're going to be in danger. Surely you're going to vouch for saying the brave thing in front of all these witnesses that no, we don't. My life's expendable. We don't negotiate with terrorists." And of course, the mayor is very cowardly in this episode, so fun little gag there. Okay, so we established the dead man switch, and with the drum roll, we established the dead man switch with the drum roll. That Jerome at random, he'll just push any of the 4 to 6 buttons, and it'll just blow someone up at random.
Mm-hmm.
So Jerome wants 2 people. He wants 2 special guests to fill those chairs. Tiki, who are those special guests?
Jeremiah Velasquez and Bruce Wayne.
I love that when he says Bruce Wayne, Gordon draws the line at Bruce Wayne. And Jim's going for the sacrifice here. So, hey, look, I'll go up there. I'll go in Bruce's place. Let these people go. And and Jerome's not having any of that. Gordon's not really listening to him in this moment. So he kind of approves with a demonstration at random. Again, he's picking him at random. And here's the thing: it's kind of a twofold thing. So he hits a button which blows the police commissioner's head off. So boom, demonstration, bloody head removal, very Suicide Squad-esque. However, at the same time, there's an upside. Job opening.
Right.
A little room for advancement for Jim Gordon there, Commissioner James Gordon. Oh, I love the sound of that. Anyway, so he's demonstrated that he means business. So, and what's cool here in this the genesis of this is that we see again visually in a story here, and this story is really all getting us to that. We're getting closer and closer to the Batman of it all, because we see why Batman and essentially. We see why Batman is needed here. We see a situation that necessitates Bruce Wayne, necessitates Batman. It's a tricky situation that is brought about by kind of the creme de la creme of supervillain in Gotham. And what's cool is this situation, not only do we need a Batman, not only do we need Bruce Wayne, we need, as we're going to learn with our two characters, we need two symbols of Gotham's future. And I love that this whole is done a proscenium stage in the heart of Gotham. Tiki, it's so prolific and it's not prolific, it's so mythic, Tiki, and I love that quality about it all. It's such a mythic situation that kind of it's like going to strike the match to the fuse. It's going to get us to season 5. The Breaking Bad season 5 of Gotham seasons. Okay, so now we have, oh my god, another cute Bruce birthday scene.
I don't know, Dragon. It's just the whole Alfred referring to Bruce as Master B is really, it's just really grown on me over the years.
Well, I know you liked it from the get-go.
Yeah, I did. So I guess it grew on you.
Yeah. So Alfred, sorry, I'm remembering this. Alfred made bun cake. Of all the kids, just Bruce Wayne's a kid of simple things, just bun cake, like, I think it's like cinnamon frosted, like just something like a clear frosting on bun cake. So Alfred made bun cake. I think it's Bruce's 18th birthday, by the way, because I tried counting the candles. I don't know if maybe it was just they picked like however many just went around the cake, but I think I counted 18. I assumed it's his 18th birthday, regardless, like it's 17th or 18th birthday, whichever. Alfred made bun cake, and adorably, again, it's like such a rare happy moment here. So Selina drops by. It's kind of like the Full House version of Gotham for an episode. It's kind of what it is.
You can almost hear the laugh track in the background.
Where Selina shows up and she blows out the candles, and it's like, oh, that's Selina. She's always breaking. What about that security system? That's not going to stop Selina. She's dropping by. It's like almost like a 90s Friends type sitcom. It just feels very 90s that she just drops by. She's blowing out the candles. And, I didn't know it was your birthday, but I'm happy you stopped by, Selina.
Mm-hmm.
It's so nice. It just really is. Alfred gives him a moment alone. He's cutting her a slice of cake, and he's saying, and this is such a sweet moment. Oh man, why can't the episode's great? I'm just saying, why can't we just have some a whole nice episode like this? Where
imagine if the whole episode was just this, like Bruce and Selina having a birthday date, and then Bullock and Gordon at the tracks. Like nothing happens, like there's no villain threat.
You know what else we need to, you know what we need is the third story. What? We need Penguin and Grundy to have like a get rich quick scheme, like Keenan and Kel or something. Let's just do that, while. See, here's what we do. We have like a full house, like happy go lucky birthday. We have like a Friends Joey and Chandler episode. And then we have like a Keenan and Kel situation with Penguin and Grundy. Okay. Anyway, getting back on point. So seriously, that was a really nice bit where I love where Selina says, "I knew it was on that," and that's Selina's way of saying she likes this version of Bruce better than the playboy, the billionaire brat version of Bruce Wayne. Again, Bruce's answers, you're more sure about than me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
all nice. And then Jim, as much as I love Jim Gordon Tiki, he's like, why has he got to spoil Bruce's birthday and everything? He's just coming by, just spoiling Bruce's birthday. Jim Gordon can't go to the racetrack, so he's going to make everybody miserable. So he spoils the birthday and the cake. We're all having cake here, Jim. Come on. Having bun cake. So spoils the birthday, and Harry Osborn's on the outside saying, what about pie?
Oh, God.
Have some pie with that cake. It's good for you. Except that, anyway, I'm sorry. To make a key lime pie shape of water joke. We don't have time for that. So, essentially, Lucius and Jim have a plan. They, Jim puts on the TV shows. Okay, here's what Jerome's doing. Again, Jerome is getting tired of waiting. And blows yet another hoss. He blows the Cardinal's head off, which is I
just love how the Cardinal's in the background and he blows up, and Jerome just has this casual reaction like, "Oh, it was that guy." Okay.
Oh God, and I just love the dark kind of. I read it like this. There's like a dark joke here. Like, you're having such a happy-go-lucky birthday celebration. Jim Gordon shows by, just gonna like put a damper on everything, and it's like, hey, happy birthday! Guy gets his head blown up in front of you. Thanks, Captain Gordon. That's just what I wanted. This fine birthday. Thanks. Anyway, so basically, Lucius and Jim have a plan. Jerome's definitely forcing Bruce's heroic side to come out here. Again, classically, these two guys are definitely kind of locked in, kind of fated towards each other. These guys are again, much like Jim and Penguin, they're kind of joined at the hip in terms of anything Jerome does is a reflection of Bruce Wayne sparing his life. And again, we have a very concerned Selina and Alfred, and again, Selina has this great line after Alfred objects to it. Do you remember what that line is?
For once, I actually agree with Alfred.
I agree with the guy who punched me in the face that one time. Lines like that just make that funny. So essentially, what they're doing here, I know it's not exactly the same thing, but just essentially what it is they're Lucius has cooked up this Dark Knight Rises kind of EMP blocker, like the big from the climax where Gordon had to put the EMP blocker on the bomb. Essentially, we're doing that here. So I assume it's a reference to Dark Knight Rises. But he's putting like a blocker or something that will block the symbol. Sorry, that will block the signal to the collars, so everyone will not blow up and then get the advantage. You have the SWAT team take out Jerome and company, and we can all go home and have some bun cake. Essentially, that's the plan. So that's.
Do we have to talk about the race stuff? Can we just skip it?
No.
All right.
I want to be clear, though. We're not downplaying Ray Shogul. We're downplaying Barbara in the position of Ray Shogul.
Yes. It's too much. I'm just not buying it.
So while Bruce is on his path to save the day, we're in the Chinese restaurant lair, and I believe this is the same Chinese restaurant lair that Bruce, just to kind of spice up a little, I think it's the same Chinese restaurant lair that Bruce went to at the end of season 3. When he accidentally killed Alfred. That whole story. I think it's the same place.
I can see that.
Anyway, so basically they go to presumably the same location, and Barbara, with her big old glowing hand, she opens
iron fist.
Yep. She opens, her hand is the key, opens to a secret room, and okay, there's the plot line where I just threw my hands up in the air and says, come on, really?
Yeah, we're getting back to season 1 Barbara territory. It's weird because it's entirely different flaws from season 1 Barbara, but it's in some ways almost just as annoying.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, Tiki, is that it's the same effect of like dreading the scenes, but again, it's different.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
It's a different sort of ridiculous. Again, reserving judgment till the next episode, but so far it's definitely ridiculous. Anyway, let's see. So she unlocks the room, which reveals essentially a room full of ancient antiques and artifacts from and I double-checked this, by the way. So again, Ra's in Gotham has been around for 2,000 years. He's been around since 125 AD. The math on that, again, I don't know why I still can't do the math on that. Regardless, it's been around for 2,000 years versus the traditional 600. So a lot of items in this room, and here's the ridiculous plot point that I'm really going to drive the knife into here. We have a painting.
Oh my God! When I saw this, Dragon, let's just say I needed a minute.
Now,
I
Tiki,
needed a minute.
I'm gonna say if they don't do what I hope they're doing with this in the next episode, I'm gonna call BS on this so hard. Because here's the thing. So essentially, it's a painting of Barb. The idea is it's Barbara's descendants. Basically, we reveal, hey, here's why Ra's chose Barbara, because there's Ra's in this painting, all the woman who looks identical to Barbara Keene.
Oh my god!
And now here's the two things. All right. First off, this guy doesn't even look like Ra's. This does not look like that. This is the reason I call BS on this painting. Again, aside from just the ridiculousness of like the coincidence of all this, like it doesn't even look like Ra's. Because this thing, yes, you're right, Taff. I mean, it looks a little like, at least it looks a little like her with the white hair and everything, which she didn't have before she came back to, when she was brought back to life. Which how would Ra's know that? And again, secondly, it doesn't even look like Ra's.
Oh Christ!
So, look here, I'll just say this: this is the only way they could save this one. The only way they could save this. All right, very simple. I'm hoping that Ra's al Ghul's pulling the strings on this. And I hope he had a fake painting commission to throw Barbara down the warpath like this. That's what I'm hoping. I hope that they're going to reveal that Ra's had this painting made to trigger.
I can sign off on that.
If they don't do that, this thing is just the biggest heap of BS I've seen on Gotham since the Barbara stuff of season 1.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, let's see. So again, Tabitha, she really doesn't buy this, like the audience.
All my life, I have known I was meant for something more. That there was something deep inside of me that I couldn't explain.
I was jumping the gun. I don't buy this. The Tabitha thing comes later when she doesn't buy this. But right now, again, I wrote my notes here. I really don't buy this. And again, I really hope that Tiki, again, with the painting thing, that I really hope this is intentional. I echoed this to you in the other episodes. I hope that that's where we're going with this. That Ra's is kind of he wants Barbara to kind of lead to the end of Gotham. He's trying to get her to like an basically wants her to make the city worse, and I really think that's the only logic I can find in this whole Barbara plot, because that line is like the dumbest line I've ever. I was meant for, again. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I want to, because we've been she's been doing well. I'm just saying that Erin Richards. She has been doing. She's been doing a good job as Barbara, and here at least she's committing to it. I'll give her that. She's committing to it, but she's speaking gibberish here. I was meant for so much more. She's getting really impassioned, but we're impassioned over this stupid.
Yeah, it's not great.
All right, anyway, let's see. So the snipers are the GCPD snipers are taking their spots. I like this little Easter egg here. And I like this like a little Hitchcockian like little sign that something's going to go wrong here. We see a Cult of Jerome graffiti from the last season that's on this rooftop here. It might be a little kind of a bad sign. Okay, so Jeremiah, so as they're taking their place there, we're at the protective custody, wherever they have Jeremiah holed up in protective custody, probably in an apartment or at the GCPD, one of the two. Jeremiah's in a room with blueprints, a model, and that model is going to be very important for speculation. And he's wearing that purple tie, and he's wearing some blues and greens. He's wearing very reminiscent colors, and again, thematically purple. Very important, folks, purple. He wants no part in this dangerous plan. He doesn't want to get his head blown up. He doesn't want to be tortured by his sadistic brother. And how can you?
Can't say I blame him, really.
Yeah. But then we have a really awesome scene. Tiki, and this is what I love here. I love that even though we've introduced Jeremiah last episode, I think we've done a lot with him in 2 episodes. Wouldn't you agree? I think yeah.
I think when you introduce the Bruce Wayne factor into it, that's when it really started to get good.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, knowing this Bruce Wayne factor retroactively, could you say that the Jeremiah stuff would get a lot done in 2 episodes?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, again, I was kind of starting on the path to being intrigued by it again. And then here's the moment where you kind of, again, you imagine how are we going to get as much character as we've had with 3 guest spots and basically 3 seasons worth of guest spots for Cameron Monaghan as Jerome. How are we going to do that with this new character who seems like such a soap opera plot to us? How are we going to make this guy viable and important? And we do that especially in the scene where Jeremiah meets Bruce. And again, Bruce knows that his father dealt with Jeremiah. So there's a link there. So Bruce, he instantly has kind of a respect there, and Bruce Wayne, he turns on the charm here, where the charm and respectability, where he's using the fact that he knew his father, they knew his father, and he sees that Jeremiah has a true vision for Gotham, the architecture and like the planning and the future of Gotham. Bruce respects that, and he he says, "Look, if I come out of this alive, I very much so want to invest in the future that you share for Gotham. You and I were kind of simpatico in that. I want to help build Gotham in the future with you. Even if some bad happens, I want you to be able to do that." And we establish, elaborate on this later on, the the compact electrical engine, a little model that's going to be, I presume, very important going forward.
And Drake,
So
just what I love about the context of the scene and the ramifications is knowing what we know. Looking back on it, this is totally the Obi-Wan Kenobi meet Anakin Skywalker moment.
exactly, that's what I'm saying, man. That's why I think I think they handled Jeremiah the best they could, and I mean that in a good way. I mean, again, we economized the story as much as we could, and I think it paid off so far. So so again, we have a really inspiring Bruce Wayne moment. My God! And again, I love that we do this moment with Jeremiah, which again might set up some stuff going forward with him. And that we had this big, again, this really big, inspiring moment where again it connects to Jeremiah on a level here, where he says, "I trust Jim Gordon and Lucius Fox. They're I'm not again. I love that he's not forcing him. He's not forcing Jeremiah, but he says, "I'm not forcing you, but yeah, look, even if this fails, I hope that just in standing up." In standing up to terror, it'll take the power away. Basically, in standing up to Jerome, this will inspire the people of Gotham not to be afraid. Standing up to terror will take terror's power away. Which, by the way, and I love this, man. This is the whole idea of Zero Years. What Scott Snyder is doing in Zero Years, what the whole book builds to. It's basically Batman confronting the Riddler, who basically kind of has a terror plot that took Gotham hostage. And Batman very publicly stood up to the Riddler, where everyone else was kind of petrified. And it was like a very mythological moment in Batman's history. So I love that we're getting like year one, and Long Halloween all throughout this season, so many places, and this is like an excellent example of that. So let's see. So Jim gets a call about the lab, and Jeremiah, he's in for the plan. He's been inspired by Bruce Wayne. Okay, I'm down for it. Let's go. Okay, so speaking of which, we're in the lab. So take us through some of this. Bullock's in the lab.
Yeah, he's in the lab. He sees all the frozen people. Kind of orders everyone to spread out.
Sees Christopher Lloyd, and then Christopher Lloyd says, "I was frozen today."
Sure. We'll go with that.
No. Bullock finds someone though.
Yes, he finds someone. He finds a scientist who's inducted with the laughing toxin. I love how Bullock is just kind of like thrown off at first. He's like, "Hey, buddy, what's so funny?"
So then he finds the Terrifier after he punches that guy. Again, he's kind of like the Jim Gordon. Hello, I'll call it. Gives kind of like a Jim Gordon. Blows punch people in the face. He sees the terrified lady from earlier. He was a little kind of lightly frosted.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, she informs him that they took the gas. They made more of the gas, and now they have it, which is not more of the gas that made that one guy laughy and crazy. Okay, so big scene.
Come back to the music festival, and Jerome is just like he's doing a big song. He's just like waiting. Someone's gonna die.
God.
Okay, to me, that's like the kind of nihilism that you get out of something like Rick and Morty. You know what I mean? Kind of like when Rick and Morty does like the very nihilistic songs.
Yeah, they do like their nihilism.
Anyways,
so Jerome invites Bruce and Jeremiah to take a seat on stage, and again, this is what I'm talking about. And then shooting these crowd scenes, man. Because I don't know. Again, it feels
it's very cinematic, Dragon. That's the best way I can describe it. There's just something about it.
Yeah, you're right. It is very cinematic. Basically, like we shoot Bruce Wayne walking, and again, this is a combination of David Mazouz just really bringing it. As again, at this point, we're at the stage in his life where he's Batman. He's Batman in attitude, Batman every factor, but again, Bruce Wayne as the mask. Bruce Wayne's the mask at this point. It's Batman underneath.
Mm-hmm.
As he's awesomely walking through this crowd of people, and again, a crowd that just shows you it's Bruce Wayne. And I love this too. And again, this is your idea as well, where Bruce Wayne also had a good role in that story too. And it's kind of like the Telltale thing, Tiki, where you have Bruce Wayne and Batman having an impact on the city.
Oh, the the Telltale game was one of my favorite Bruce Wayne stories, if I'm being honest.
So that's what I'm saying, Tegan. That's kind of what Zero Year does, as well as kind of what we're doing here, where it's kind of like Bruce Wayne. Again, so years later, it's not going to be like everyone knows that Bruce Wayne's Batman. It's the fact they know, oh, man, we can trust Bruce Wayne because he stood up for us when we needed him to.
Right, right.
Kind of idea. So we have this awesome shot of Bruce Wayne walking, inspiring the people of Gotham like he wanted to, much like Batman will as well. And Jeremiah's walking up there kind of scared, and it's a really tense scene. And we have the SWAT guys. While this is happening, the SWAT guys are all killed, so that contingency's gone. They're killed by Joker's men. Sorry, but killed by Jerome's men.
I just love how horrified and thrown off Gordon is by that whole thing. He's just like, oh God, what do we do? There was a plan.
And again, this is vaguely Death of the Family-esque, where, the idea of like a Joker who's like so forward thinking that, as Jerome reveals, he sent his men the night before to the scat at all the sniper locations, so they'd be there to kill the snipers. Which again is horrifying, very Death of the Family horrifying. So, oh boy, that's our guys are screwed. I mean, again, they have the dampener, but still, they're really screwed. Meanwhile, a moment that I was drooling for, Tegan, I was like, oh my God, we're doing it. The Zeppelin reveal. We have the Zeppelin reveal.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Now, Tiki, I don't have to tell you how important the Zeppelin is with Batman, do I?
No, of course not. I mean, I'm assuming it's especially important for the animated series aesthetic.
It is the defining image of the animated series. It's the first thing you see in Batman the Animated Series. Every episode in that opening is the Zeppelin. This Warner Brothers logo turns into the police blimp.
Right, right.
And again, what we're doing here is, again, I'm just like, yes, that's so Batman, so the animated series, it's so, again, people love the Zeppelin, we keep bringing back the Zeppelin. And as well, again, and they did this too, Tiki, it's in Zero Year, it has like a cool bit where the idea is Penguin, and this is kind of, again, I don't know if they're direct, I imagine they got to be pulling this from Zero, if not just the Zeppelin itself, but also this idea that in Zero Year, the cool thing, the way Scott Snyder integrated the police blimp, or integrated the Zeppelin system, was that the Penguin never did business in a stationary location. He did his business in a Zeppelin in midair.
Ah, nice.
Which is cool. And of course, we have Penguin, involved in the Zeppelin plot this episode. So that's, that's really cool. So they're in the air. Basically, they're in like the hangar with the Zeppelin, and we have Scarecrow, Mad Hatter, and the Penguin. Scarecrow, he scares a guy to death, really graphically with his fear talk. So you can see the guy's face getting all wet and stuff. It's like, oh God, it's horrifying. And the Mad Hatter, he takes control of the other pilots, and now he's going to basically do the bidding and do the plan, basically drive the chemicals over the place. Penguin pieces this all together, as us the audience do, and he pieces together that the plan is to gas Gotham Square. The plan is to gas Gotham Square, which, by the way, and again, obviously we go here many other places. It's very 89-esque. It's a very Batman 89 plan. It's basically it's the big 200th anniversary of Gotham. Like, hey, we're gonna gas everyone. Like, he stole my balloons. That very much. We're gonna gas people with big parade balloons.
Mm-hmm.
So Penguin's pleading with them to see reason, like, stop this madness, we need crime in the city, etc., etc. Scarecrow reveals, in a very Death of the Family way, reveals that Jerome anticipated this loyalty, and they knock him out and tie him to the blimp. Jerome wants him to have a bird's eye view. That's such a Joker. That's such a Joker measure and a phrasing of the Joker right there. Give the Penguin a bird's eye view. Oh, and then we have this.
Oh, God. I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid.
Or to quote Freakazoid, dumb, dumb, dumb.
Oh, man.
So, okay, so just the kind of...
Yeah, just do the fucking cliff notes on this, Dragon. I don't want to waste any more time on this.
Okay, just to make a beeline for it here. Tabitha thinks the Raish was more of a cult leader than anything. And basically, Barb has been kind of swept up in the cult lore of everything. And basically, it's like leading Barbara astray, this whole Ra's al Ghul stuff. It's like, what are you doing, Babs? Basically, she's the voice of the audience in this episode.
Pretty much, yeah, which is like the one redeeming factor of the scene.
Barbara's considering, bringing these teachings, like all these ancient documents and things. Essentially, she's saying, "Hey, let's bring magic to Gotham," which is always a dicey idea. Like, honestly, nothing beyond a Lazarus Pit is what I want in terms of magic in Gotham. Like nothing
I
beyond a
don't blame
Lazarus.
you.
So the idea she's saying, like, "Hey, we can heal people, we can cast spells on enemies here, we can do all this ancient kind of mystical mumbo jumbo stuff." So again, like the whole fulfilling Ra's al Ghul's destiny and everything. Tabitha's one a part of that, and essentially this leads to a kind of a rift in the partnership. And she's saying, "What about the stuff we were doing? All the cool stuff we were doing at the beginning of the season, didn't that matter to you at all? It's all part of the plan, all part of Ra's al Ghul's destiny." And this leads to the breakup. They kind of absolve their partnership. Tells Tabitha to leave, and again, Barbara's getting awfully cocky.
Yeah, I mean, she's getting cocky, but at the same time, it's just you can tell that she really is kind of just getting swept up into the mythology of Ra's al Ghul, like just really, really quickly. Like she's just drinking the Kool-Aid very fast. She's just very fast to just dive all in based on this stupid freaking painting that's just looming in the background of this freaking whole scene like a cancer.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, again, now Jeremiah and Bruce are on stage with the bomb collars on, and basically we have this. This is stage, by the way. Again, it's so funny, Tiki, because the way they shoot this, I'm assuming we're still using the split screen. Again, they don't necessarily have to use a split screen this day and age, but I love how they're framing it like a split screen, even if I don't know if they're using it or not. They're homaging the split screen because. Jerome is basically having in front of all these people, all the people of Gotham, on a big proscenium stage. He's having a heart-to-heart kind of Dr. Phil style conversation with his brother, and basically saying like, "Hey, every parent has a favorite. Don't let them tell you anything different." And Mom loved. Guess who Mom's favorite was?
Maybe the guy who wasn't the murderer.
Yeah. So, basically Mom loved Jeremiah more. He got adopted by a rich family, went to school, basically was on the partner track. And, and Jerome was left with, he was over in the circus with a bitter, drunk, abusive mother at the circus, shoveling elephant dung. Have you seen the size of those things?
The crowd is just like not into it at all. Like they're just kind of like jeering Jerome the whole time.
So let's see. Okay, here's the interesting stuff. This is going to be important stuff going forward here. So Jerome's calling him out, and that we hinted at in the last episode, which again I was really fascinated by, and we're still kind of keeping that ball rolling here. Is that he knows that Jeremiah is as crazy as Jerome is. It's in his DNA. And he wants him to face it. He frees Jeremiah, gives him a knife, and of course he encourages him to stop fighting your true nature. And again, this is all foreshadow for a big payoff, folks. Honestly, it's a very Trinity Killer from Dexter payoff.
Mm-hmm.
It's very like our guy knows something that our hero that our other guy does not know, and of course it's like the seeds of it are there. And he's giving him the answer. He's giving him the riddle, and that somewhat, and won't learn it till the very end. So he tells him to stop fighting his true nature, gives him the knife, tells him to take his best shot, and unfortunately, his best shot is really not good enough. He's really he's not giving into his craze, just going into instinct, just trying to basically punch him, tries to go for a stab. Jerome punches him and then kicks him while he's down. So let's see. So Jim gets an update from Bullock about the gas and everything, and basically I love how, in terms of a plot perspective, again, honestly, the only stall we have again is the Barbara Tabitha stuff. However, what I do like is that we're taking something just very much kind of as we've made fun of in a meta quality before on Gotham, like the whole we do this so we can go here. Basically, the procedural element.
Right, yeah.
I love that we're smartly, we're streamlining that, and we're showing that Jim is a smart detective here. He puts it together, he puts two and two together without having like a whole like a season 1 Gotham thing of tell me.
Tell me how balloons deflate, or I'll beat it out of you.
However, this would be an applicable situation for that in this case, with the Zeppelin of it all. Anyway, so Jim puts it together that all good. They have the gas. They're going to use it on We're gonna gas the crowd here.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they're stalling. He's stalling, which means we got to evacuate everyone now because they're waiting for the Zeppelin to get overhead here. Of course, they got to move fast. He orders everyone, okay, evacuate everyone, evacuate. I don't care what happens, just evacuate. Jerome is kicking his brother out of love. I love it. He's just saying as he's doing this, I love my brother. It's like it's oh god, yeah. So Bullock, he takes out the snipers, which of course kind of leads to a momentary distraction for Jerome. And as this is going on, Jim awesomely shoots him in the shoulder. Yeah.
I
And,
like how he just flounders around like a fish after he gets shot.
and that's
I love the body performances in this episode between the laughing gas and this.
and again, Tiki, that's classic Joker. Joker's not a physical, I mean, rare unless you do like the Frank Miller Joker from from Dark Knight Returns. He's a flaily guy. He's not a
right.
He's not like a brawler. He'll be crazy. Like he's a stabby guy. He's not like a by no means a fighter. And yeah, just I love that. Also, we're paying off in many ways. He's wearing that white coat, and again, that white coat's getting stained with blood and everything. So again, we're showing the colors white and red, like the Joker's face. So we're definitely making an argument for this being kind of our big Joker moment here. And him getting shot in the shoulder. I'm going to throw this out there real quick. A little reminiscent of I'm sorry, it's dawned on me in this moment here of Dark Knight Returns, where that Joker is wearing the white. He's wearing the white coat, and he gets the batarang in the shoulder and in the eye and everything. So it's kind of like the bloody white coat from Dark Knight.
Right.
That's a little fun fact there. Anyway, okay, so basically, he's been wounded in the shoulder. He goes down. Bruce frees himself, and he fends off Fireflies trying to roast Jim Gordon. He kind of saves Gordon's bacon. No pun intended. Jerome sees that he tries out the dead man switch on the terrified mare. Doesn't work. So he runs off. Bruce frees the mare. Then we have the Zeppelin overhead shot, and Bullock just looking up says, "Oh my god."
And I gotta say, Dragon, just the CG on this looks glorious. It really looks high end for this show.
I mean, outside of this too, I mean the CG and other aspects. Again, as we saw in the earlier scene here with the Joker face, with the kind of the Joker venomized face, it looks fantastic.
Like honestly, Dragon, watching the episode, I kind of got the sense that this is sort of what a Gotham movie would be like.
I could see that.
They really ramped up the production qualities for this one episode.
I think they're smart enough to realize that whenever they do a Jerome arc, even like in season 3 and even in season 2, when they do a Jerome arc, they really pull out all the stops in terms of how they bring those episodes to life. Again, especially season 3 with the big 3-parter.
Mm-hmm.
So they pull out all the stops when it comes to the Jerome because they know that's their big bread and butter for the show. They're going to get viewership for that. Because everyone loves the Joker. Everyone loves the Joker, and anything that relates to the Joker, people are going to tune into, even if it will get buzz, and even if it's even they're not following the show, they'll watch those episodes, and they know like, okay, that's where we got to really sell people on the show.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, it takes through some of this. We have Penguin.
Yeah, so Penguin is waking up on the Zeppelin, and for some reason, I love the delivery of the hypnotized driver here. Excuse me, sir, can you help me? No can do, sport. Gotta get this rig into position for the boss. I just love how old-timey he sounds.
Yeah, you're right. So Penguin tries to convince the pilot, not to drop the load, because basically he tells him, like, I just gotta pull this lever here when the boss calls me, tells me I'm in position, and drop the payload. Again, the Mad Hatter has this measure. It's kind of like a Purple Man, do whatever it takes. And he pulls a gun on the Penguin, like when he tries to stop him.
Like I said, pal, no can do.
Let's see. So again, Jerome's like telling the pilot he's almost in position. As he's running again down the narrow alleyways. Let's see. Joker. Sorry, Greg. All these J abbreviations are tripping me up, folks. Sorry about it. I got Jeremiah, I got Jerome. I'm thinking Joker at times, and I got Jim Gordon, which I just abbreviated with the J. So there's a lot of J's floating around here, folks.
All right.
So anyway, Jim calls the Penguin, and he tasks the Penguin with stopping and steering the blimp over the river.
Mm-hmm.
Now again, I was really proud. I'm really proud of this scene. I love it in season 4 we can get a scene like this again because again, as we're reflecting Bruce's connection with the Joker, via our proto Joker. I love that, again, we pair, Jim and the Penguin together like this, and we have a payoff of, again, these two guys being responsible for each other, and essentially Jim inspiring the Penguin here to be very heroic, and this feeds into your anti-hero thing with the Penguin.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Where Jim gives kind of a pointed pep talk to the Penguin into you doing the right thing here, like thousands are going to die, or worse. What's worse than that? How can you run? This is the classic. Ben McKenzie plays this so well, where he knows how to. They plays it like they're brothers in many. Again, I've always said there's one of two dynamics with Joker. One of two dynamics with Jim and the Penguin, where in this show, where it's either kind of like I always like kind of with the responsibility factor. It's kind of like a fatherly son. Sometimes there's a father-son dynamic, like a creator-creation thing. And in cases like this, you have like kind of bickering brothers a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, he tells him, he gets under his skin. He says, "How can you run an empire in a city full of lunatics?" That's how you push the Penguin's motivation button right there. And he love the Penguin does not drive his own car. In this case,
I can relate to that, Dragon. I can relate to that.
No one likes to drive. Let's be honest.
Also, I really love the moment where Bullock is like, "Hey Jim, I can shoot the blimp down one shot."
Didn't you watch Mask of the Phantasm? Don't do that.
And we're spilling all the chemicals out all over the city. Oh yeah, right.
Hey Jim, well, I got you on the line. So I was thinking after this racetrack. We'll talk about it later, Harvey. Anyway, so, oh my god, here we go. Big scene. So, Jim chases Jerome to the rooftop. Again, I love it's a
rooftop.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I said it's got to be a rooftop, right?
It has to
be.
It's
only appropriate that it's a rooftop.
And by the way, I love that it's the consistent rooftop we keep getting in Gotham. It's like the clothes hangers and everything, and I doubt it's intentional, but again, it's like the rooftop chase from the first episode where you have all that laundry and like the clotheslines and everything. Just like it's a rooftop in Gotham. It just feels very classic.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jim chases Jerome to the rooftop for a great showdown. Jerome's about to call the pilot. He pulls out his phone. He's about to call the pilot. Gordon shoots him in the hand. And basically, Jerome shouts to the speaker. It's almost like a speakerphone effect. Shouts to the pilot, just bombs away. And in that moment, Jim and Jim's. I don't think it was Jim's plan. Here's the thing: Jim said he was like, about time we killed this guy. I don't think that's Jim necessarily wanting to kill him, but I'm saying he's more than prepared to kill Jerome for all the horrible stuff that he's done.
I mean, I gotta say, at this point in the episode, with everything that Jerome's doing, it's kind of like you reach a point where can he really escalate any further?
Boy, does he. So Jim shoots him. Let's see. So yeah, Jim shoots him, and Jerome in this moment he kind of acknowledges, kind of a Joker-esque manner. He's on the ledge. He says, "Huh, it's funny," and he falls. And before we check back in with that scene, Penguin, meanwhile, again, like his old buddy Jim encouraged him to. Penguin, he fights the pilot. He fights him for the lever. He knocks out the pilot with the gun. And Penguin's scrambling for the wheel, and he's like up. And then we have a flying penguin.
Yeah.
But Tiki, I ask you, is he truly flying, or is he really falling with style?
I think he's falling with style, Dragon, but I think that's even cooler.
Yeah. Okay, here we have this haunting scene. Now, Tiki, this is my wish fulfillment scene. This is a scene I wanted since the beginning with Jerome.
It kind of makes me wish we didn't pull that fake out death with him.
Yeah, you're right, because again, we kind of had this already, but this is the perfect kind of like, it's an intimate scene that kind of says what we had there, and again, even what we had before, that first death was cool. But this is, again, it's the same effect, but it's a personal version of that, where Jerome's actually, he has like a last say,
Mm-hmm.
So here's a great scene. I love the scene. Of course, classically, I love this scene. Again, look at the killing joke of it all, Tiki. Famously, short of Batman and Joker, you will not have two people who hate each other like in each other's lives more than Jim Gordon and the Joker, because the way it's always been is that Joker loves to punish and torture Jim Gordon because Jim Gordon is the ultimate representation of Gotham City, and Joker loves to torture Gotham City. So Jerome dangles from like a pipe or something that's like sticking out of the building, and Jerome he's dangling and he's asking Jim if he'll save him or let him fall. You gonna be the lawman or murderer? Basically gives him the lawman or murderer choice. Jimmy, for after a moment, Jimmy reaches for him, and again, Tiki, I love every bit of how this scene was staged. I love everything about this scene. So it's one of my bucket list scenes from Gotham. Jerome laughs, and he says, "Ah, good old Gordon playing by the rules. That's why I'll outlive you. That's why I'm loved. I don't give a crap about the rules. It's a long way down. Are you sure you're going to outlive me?" And again, this is the ultimate representation of again. Gordon represents order in Gotham, and Joker classically represents anarchy. And here, in this case, what we're establishing in this scene, what we've established throughout the show with these guys, Gordon has established the status quo in Gotham versus Jerome, which is always the next level chance. Like Gordon wants things to remain the same, wants things to remain the same and remain safe. Jerome wants to get us into that bold Batman show that we keep kind of jetting the finish line for. We're trying to get there as fast as we can. That's what Jerome's bringing, which is a scary thought, which gets us to the proverbial end, which of course is going to be Gordon fails, therefore enter Batman, which Gordon doesn't want to fail. That's kind of what these two characters represented to each other. So, so again, it's that perception of yourself versus your. Sorry. Anyway, Jerome has. Then we continue with the great dialogue here. It says, "I'm more than a man. I'm an idea, a philosophy that'll live on in the shadows of Gotham's discontent." Again, so Shakespearean, such a big line. Gotham's
And
discontent.
you're right. We did get kind of a variation on this in season 2, but this is just a much more personal and intimate scene.
Yeah, and again, it's like essentially, it is kind of a warning to Jim Gordon that hey, something bad's coming. You're gonna have to deal with it. And again, this is kind of Jerome warning Gordon that hey, the whole premise of the show is you're gonna fail and Batman's gonna take over. You're gonna need someone in a cot. It's kind of like again, it's not as meta as this, but it's kind of like saying hey, your way's not gonna cut it. Something's going to come that's going to supplant you, and it's going to be hilarious that you can't do the job, that you need a guy in a costume to do the job for you. And that's the last laugh to you.
Mm.
So, and again, the lines perfectly is, "You'll be seeing me soon." And he drops himself and he laughs all the way down. And again, Tika, and I love Monahan in his last moment here as Jerome. The way he falls and he gives out the most Joker-esque laugh that he's been holding in the whole season. And he falls, and of course his fate is identical to the '89 Joker, the Jack Nicholson Joker.
Oh yeah.
And for me, this moment is what I've been hoping they were going to do with Jerome. And again, they didn't call him this, but essentially he lived this. He lived the Scott Snyder kind of endgame thing we do with Joker, where he's very much the pale man of Gotham. Basically, that figure that is not the Joker 100%, but a figure that's been in Gotham before the Joker, that is a part of Gotham's mythology. Like people fear the Joker because they think he might be kind of this thing that's omnipresent, like this curse upon Gotham, a curse upon the land that is Gotham, that essentially is just this pale, mean, sadistic guy who represents evil. Essentially, the devil of Gotham is kind of the pale man of Gotham. And Jerome, as he falls, he's in all white, he's laughing, and again, he's just kind of this face that people won't remember the name Jerome, but they're going to remember the Joker. That's kind of that's what we're doing here, and I love that we did that, and that's my wish for them.
Yeah, just the way you describe that dragon, that's like really creepy, kind of sends a chill down my spine the way you kind of described that. Very eloquently stated, sir. I couldn't have said it better myself. All right, so we cut back. Jerome is, he's dead, but he's got a smile on his face.
Oh yeah, that's the '89 of it all right there. Just that checking back, I was so happy with that scene because we kind of did that a little when we killed him off the first time in the show. Him as a slab on the table, that smile on his face. But here we actually did it 100%. Like we pull, they shot it the same exact way we pull up from the camera. We just see that dead smile, and everyone's kind of wondering again the whole kind of mythology of it all. They're all wondering, is he really dead? Which again is definitely, it's a big Arkham City pull, by the way. The whole question, is this like a new status quo? Is our Joker figure dead? Yeah.
And I keep waiting in this episode for Jeremiah to snap because I know it's coming. And Dragon, I got to admit, there was a moment where I was kind of wondering if they were going to. Okay, just picture this. Picture this. How twisted would it be if Jeremiah saw Jerome's dead body and he suddenly gets like a power trip on, and he's just like kind of like beating on the dead body until the face comes off.
Oh God. Well, to be fair, they grafted that. You can't just. It's not the same face as it was where it's grafted on there. You can't beat him that severely and get the face coming off again.
Okay, well, you get my point, though. You know, like, imagine, like, just the face getting mangled all over again with Jeremiah kind of, yeah, obviously they didn't go that route, but that's kind of what, sort of, you know, what crossed my mind when Jeremiah was first walking by Jerome here.
All right. I was thinking more of like, imagine if like if Jeremiah like left and we just saw him like kind of smile or start to laugh as he walked away.
Yeah, I could see that.
So we have this great moment, and again, like a moment that's starting to kind of. And here's the thing. Here's the cosmic joke of it all. Here is that this is a far better Destiny plot than we had with the whole Ra's al Ghul Barber thing. That's what we're doing there. We're
Right,
doing here.
right.
This is the way it should be done. So Bruce and Jeremiah have a moment together after Jeremiah happens upon his dead brother's body, which again, whether he loved him, whether he liked him or not, you gotta imagine it's gonna be a bit of, that's my brother, that's my face, that's me right there. That's a little traumatizing. And Bruce echoes what he said earlier to Jeremiah in a really comforting moment here, where he says, "I want to support your work, your vision for Gotham. I want to please allow me to give you a grant from Wayne Enterprises." And he accepts. He thanks Bruce. He accepts, and he walks away. And this bit here, it's such a small bit. And again, he's doing it so well. It's such a simple bit. And this is the moments I grew up with Batman here. We're just, Bruce again. It's like can't do a bad exit every time. But I love this though. I just love that he says "Captain" and he walks off, and Gordon has a little bit of pride there.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's kind of like it's not like a sort of like he's proud, but it's also like a really, the way it plays. It's a dark, no one's won here victory. That's very much what it feels like. Everyone's just kind of walking off like he's gone through a trauma and he's walking off alone. And Bruce is just kind of like, again, no one was victorious in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Meanwhile, a little bit of comic levity is
Yes.
Penguin calls up, "Hello, I'm still here on the blimp. No one ever rescued me. A little service here."
I laughed so hard at this scene. I loved it. Bullets like, let's just let him stew up there for a while. That's me. And basically, Gordon tells him, "Hey, we need a standby pilot. We're gonna, once we get him on the phone, he'll talk you down." And also, this is the bear. This is kind of like, again, that brother, like I got his goat, but also kind of that father, like, "I'm proud of you, Oswald. I'll never say it to you the right way, but I'm kind of proud of you." Where he says, "Oh, and Oswald Cobblepot." And again, you think, after all, I like to think that he's trying to get a rise out of the Penguin, thinking after all the times as Oswald Cobblepot, you're under arrest for Oswald Cobblepot.
Yeah.
That he says, "Oswald Cobblepot, Gotham thanks you for your Gotham thanks you." And he's leaving. It's like the ultimate kind of. It's like a pleasant screw you. And Penguin's left there. Jim. Oh, it's funny.
But then we cut back to something. The ending of this is okay, but
that's what I'm talking about. This shows potential. This, at least we have that going forward here.
Yeah.
So, Tabitha, she's. I think the idea is the League wants her to leave town instead of killing her, and Barbara's like excommunicated her, and Tabitha essentially she refuses, so she's beaten by the League outside, and told to kind of leave the city. We're done here. Like, don't darken our doorstep ever again. A mystery man watches this unfold. He walks over and he helps Tabitha up. And then she is by this man reveals himself to be a servant of the true Ra's al Ghul, and she's then injected with something, and basically she's captured. And of course, her line before that is like, "Hey, her line's wait, Ra's al Ghul, I thought he was dead. Death is only an illusion." And then of course, injects her, that captures her. Boom. All right.
Yep.
That's about it. So then we have, Tiki, imagine if that was the actual ending of the episode.
Oh man. Oh god.
Like, hey, all this Jerome stuff, and then hey, set up for the next one. You know what? It's like we need. You gotta imagine those writers are thinking. You know what? We need something with pizzazz. We need something that's like, we did something big with Jerome. We had like a lot of really great stuff. How can we make this episode? What's the cherry on top? What's the perfection here? What's what's our signature? What's our purple Joker was here? Kind of defilement of the painting. We need something here, man. Tiki, what do they do?
Okay, so we cut back to Jerome, or god damn it, now I'm doing it. We cut back to Jeremiah. Middle of the night. He's he's pouring himself a drink from the trauma. He's very much contemplating what's going on. You can see the torment in his eyes. You see the tower model in the background. And then he sees the present dragon. He sees the present on the table. And as soon as I saw this, I knew exactly where we were going with it.
Let's just say it's not more bun cake.
No, God. Wouldn't that have been nice if Bruce Wayne, if that was the actual end of the episode, Dragon? Just imagine this. If Bruce Wayne sent him a slice of bun cake and a check. And, dear Jeremiah, sorry for your loss. Hope we can work together in the future, Bruce Wayne. And then Jeremiah's just like, oh, that's a nice kid.
Then on the back of it says,
credits.
Then on the back of the card it says, have some bun cake on me.
Credits.
Yeah.
Okay,
but in all seriousness, this package from Wayne Enterprises is a purple box.
Oh yeah,
again, purple being our Daredevil, like kind of our theme of red, our color scheme here, kind of our Breaking Bad color scheme, where our Daredevil kind of like Bilby kind of red color scheme. In this case, purple is the color of destiny and doom in relation to the Joker. So he opens it, and you knew what was going on while you're watching this too, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Exactly. So he opens it. It's a Jack in the Box, and oh my god, like something bad's gonna happen to him. And again, it's a question of if they're going to hit it perfectly. And they did, by the way. So they had the line that I was waiting for. They did the whole thing perfectly. The Jack in the Box pops out. And this is like classic animated series, by the way. It's like Joker in many respects. I'm saying the animated series had like the Jack in the Box and it would spray you sometimes. So the Jack in the Box pops out and has like a elongated face and everything, and it has like a little nozzle, and it gasses him with that purple gas, like again, like the laughing gas, which we're already terrified by. And this is perfect. So these are the two perfect notes they hit. As this is happening, we hear Jerome's voice on a recording inside the Jack in the Box talking, and essentially what it reveals is this isn't just the laughing gas we had earlier. This is a special mixture that would set Jeremiah free. That special mixture line I thought was important. I love that it says he's not going to be like just a raving lunatic. He's going to be
sure.
That was an important line. It was a small thing, but I'm glad they had it in there. And so then we have the epic line here. You can basically you can continue on for me the ultimate. I'm sorry, unless you have it verbatim, I'll just summarize it.
I don't have line for line now.
I just want to make sure anyway. So you can basically telling his brother, as his brother in this scene, he's been gassed and he is almost like a Jekyll Hyde moment. He's writhing around the room and he's going mad in this scene. You can continue on for me, my ultimate revenge. Don't fight it. Have fun, brother. Burn it down. Burn it all down. And then so as that's being said, we see the moment unfold. My God, Tiki, as this moment happened, my jaw dropped. As I was blown away by what they were doing here. And again, and we knew one of the episode titles coming up. And again, it's the fact they did it this early. They ended it here. And it made like this the perfect full circle button on the whole episode. Jeremiah is in a pose where basically at the end of it, his face is turned, solid pale white. He's turned white, and he's got his lips are turned red, and they're probably bleeding on the sides, I suppose. And again, he's putting his hands on his hair, and it's hard to tell because it's a dark room. His hair might have even turned green for all we know. For all we know. And in this pose, in this final pose with his hands on his head like that, laughing, and his face is also transforming. Again, the CG looks so good. And honestly, I heard that Cameron Monaghan mocked Justice League's mustache removal, comparing it to this scene, saying, look at how good we did it compared to your mustache. And my God, the last shot they do with this laughing. Again, he's in a vest. He's in a very Joker looking. Again, he's in that purple tie, that very kind of green and blue and purple, vest, and very Joker. He's as Joker looking as he's going to get in this moment. And we do the shot. We do the famous shot, the shot of the Joker, one of the shots. We do the Killing Joke shot.
Mm-hmm.
He transforms into Joker, and the bit that wowed me, Tiki, they already had me. But the moment that got me is when the face transforms in the last shot. You freeze frame at just the right second, you will see the thing we haven't had this with the Joker since Batman 89, since 25 to 30 years.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned 89 because the design of this is absolutely right up 89's alley. I feel like Jerome was the Heath Ledger Joker, and this is the Jack Nicholson Joker.
Exactly. So what we're doing here is, again, like that moment, like the extended jaw, like the face elongating a little, just like classic Joker, like the Mark Hamill Joker I grew up with. That elongated, like classic comics Joker look. And again, like we haven't had a chemically induced, like a natural smile since it's 89, because we've had like the cuts and the makeup and everything. We haven't had like a chemically induced Joker like this. And my God, in this one shot, again, it's a tease, and they don't want to give too much away quite yet. But they had to get this moment just right, again, for the newbies. And my God, T gets the perfect note they hit with the Killing Joke shot at the very end. So it's the best Soussaint you ever had, man. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's perfect.
All right.
That's the episode.
Okay, so speculation. Next episode is called To Our Deaths and Beyond. Dragon, I have a feeling I'm not going to like next episode as much as I like this episode. Just a gut feeling.
Okay, well, that's a safe bet. However, okay, so here's the promo. The promo, I really suspect the promo, most of the footage in the promo is probably for that old corpse. The next episode, not the one coming next, but the one after it. That's what episode 20. Episode 20. I think a lot of the footage in the promo is going to be in episode 20. But anyway, what we have is we see Raish is back.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of mummified, which is kind of cool looking, maybe. And he said, and basically it's Alexander Siddig saying, "I had a vision." This line gets me really excited. I had a vision of a cataclysmic event. Cataclysmic being the key term. Put a pin in that. Raish, he's let's see. Raish looks like Raish is reclaiming the league, and we see Barbara. She's kind of on the lam. She's in Bruce's new car with him.
Oh, okay.
And he was in the middle of a high-speed chase getting away from Ra's al Ghul. So, again, something big's happening. And Raish is saying that this cataclysmic event, this got me super excited, this cataclysmic event would mold Bruce into the Dark Knight of Gotham.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
We see that we have like a hand coming, like a corpsey hand coming out of the thing, which presumably is Ra's al Ghul's revival. To Bruce's amazement, again, the guy I killed, which I was so haunted by killing, is coming back. I think Selina's there, and the other two things, there's a bank robbery going on, probably going to be the Riddler stuff. And we see Penguin and Butcher on an adventure together. Like, hey, they're doing stuff. Okay, so speculation. You start us off.
Okay, I only have one real piece of speculation. I'm sure you probably have a little bit more given your context with the comics and everything, but I think this is going to be kind of a little bit goofy, and there's no real way to kind of know if this is going to go down, but I have a feeling that the voice message recorded for Jeremiah at the end of this episode isn't the last time we're going to hear Jerome speaking to Jeremiah from beyond the grave.
Mm.
I think that either we're going to go the route of Jerome is going to be the voice in Jeremiah's head, kind of the classic, like Dexter route with it, or Purple Man from
I
Jessica
like
Jones
that,
season
Tiki.
2.
I really do like that. I like that. Basically, his brother kind of mentoring him from beyond the grid. It's kind of a cool idea. I like that.
The sillier idea that I have is that Jerome watched 13 Reasons Why and
Oh,
got
come
the
on.
idea oh, what if I just record all these tapes and just leave them around for Jeremiah?
Okay, I'm gonna say this much. Okay, 13 Reasons Why I completely that's bunk, but I will say this: the idea of him having more recordings kind of laid around for him, though, that could happen. That could be like if Gordon's investigating, saying, "Oh my God, his brother left him a few recordings around here to make him more delusional and turn him into this thing."
That's what I'm
But
saying. I think we're going to go one of the two directions with that.
in his head,
Either
or
the recordings that are left behind or the kind of hallucination of Jerome.
well, again, basically the recordings could feed into the hallucinations. So regardless, they'd be kind of a package deal.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, okay, let's see. I'm trying to condense this here. So I think predominantly with that bank robbery shot, because again, majority of what I'm thinking is we're going to get a lot of that Ra's al Ghul coming back from the grave footage in the episode That Old Corpse. Because again, him coming back from the dead, all mummified stuff, and that whole like kind of corpsey hand shot sounds like That Old Corpse. But then again, Gotham and episode titles, you know, sometimes they're a little false advertising there. So unless they do, regardless, the next two episodes, I'll bet you are going to be the big Ra's al Ghul episodes. We're going to bring Ra's back, and we're going to like do whatever we're going to do with the Barber stuff. And what they're doing is they're really kind of holding this over because I respect this. I love that we're not just going to get the Joker thing next episode. I like that we're going to give us a little time to
The
process.
Joker thing's got to be one bad day, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying the last two episodes, we're getting like a mini arc that feels more appropriate than like something like the ogre story.
Mm. Oh God! Oh, the ogre stuff was trash.
So again, what I really think we're going to do, broad spectrum, is I think again, all Ra's talk about the Dark Knight. I think Ra's is going to warn Bruce about the No Man's Land event because we know here's the episode titles. I guess we got to our deaths and beyond, That Old Corpse, One Bad Day, and then No Man's Land. So I think Ra's, the cataclysmic event he's referring to in No Man's Land. No Man's Land is an earthquake strikes Gotham, and there was the prelude to that story is called Cataclysm. That's what it's called. And again, season 5 will probably, my bet is that season 5 is going to be No Man's Land for at least the first half, if not the entire season. It's going to be No Man's Land. And this will be like the introduction to No Man's Land, hence the prelude will be the cataclysmic event that Ra's is warning Bruce about. And again, Ra's has been training Bruce to become the Dark Knight of Gotham. So that's the point. So I think, episode, next one's predominantly going to be Ra's, it's going to be set up for Ra's coming back. Ra's will probably come back to life at the very end of the episode, where it's going to be like the League turning on Barbara. Like we're going to do the Tabitha stuff next episode with all of that. Like Tabitha's learning, Ra's isn't really dead. We're going to bring him back, and while we're doing that, we're setting that up. We're going to probably be doing like the whole Butch and Penguin have a story, and the whole bank robbery for the Narrows story. The whole Lee and Riddler working together, rob the Narrows.
Right.
Basically, do the Robin Hood thing for the Narrows. Old Corpse will be all the Ra's al Ghul stuff and the warning about the thing to come and the terror, the horrible thing to come that Ra's should be warning him about all cryptically will be One Bad Day, where we have the Joker have his big introduction, his big entrance, and the big plot. Basically, we'll show him, and at the end of that episode, we're going to reveal that he has a plan, like a new plan to kind of send Gotham into chaos, which will be No Man's Land. Now, No Man's Land, I'll bet you, what we're going to do is we're going to use that compact electrical engine that he had a little model for and everything he was telling Bruce about. He's going to use that to create No Man's Land, a giant like blackout on Gotham, like, I don't know, something. He's going to do something horrible with that thing. It's going to put Gotham in a horrible No Man's Land state. So that's going to be the big One Bad Day will be set up for that. Basically give us a whole, okay, here's Joker, and then No Man's Land. Big cliffhanger for the season. And
all that pretty much checks out for me. I just hope that next episode isn't just like the Barbara show all the way through. That's my only hope.
There is one thing I'm gonna hopefully. I did research on one thing. Last thing, Tabitha. Okay. So Tabitha has always been this character called Tigress from the comics. There's this character called Tigress. And interestingly, I found, I didn't know this, so I looked into it. Tigress worked for the League of Assassins. So what I think we're going to be doing, I guess my big theory, Tabitha, is there are two characters for League of Assassins who are women. Tigress who just worked with them, and one of their A-list assassins, like one of their top 7 assassins, is a character called Whip, and Tabitha is known for using a whip.
Yep.
So I'm thinking they might mix those. I'm thinking they might mix those characters together, and like this guy who recruited her is going to recruit her as being like one of the true disciples of Ra's al Ghul. Will finally pay off what would been like why the heck Tabitha's been in the show for the whole time.
Nice.
She'll work with the League of Assassins, like she kind of will link up with the comics, like we did with Lee. You know, like Lee, she's kind of the champion of the Narrows, champion of the kind of crime alley. We're going to do that with Tabitha here. That's my big Tabitha theory, and I hope that'll be like the big thing that's going to carry us through all that Ra's al Ghul like setup in the next.
You know, I like that, Dragon, because Tabitha really has been like the big enigma of our ensemble cast this whole show since season 2. It's like no one could have guessed that she would have lived past these, you know, like that she would have lived into season 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I kind of wonder, perhaps Tabitha might strike a bargain with the League to put Butch in a Lazarus pit and restore him, maybe.
Perhaps.
You never know. Okay, so that's all the spec I got. So, final thoughts, Steve. What do you got?
All right, final thoughts. Yeah, I think this episode is just continuing the upward trajectory of season 4. I really do think that season 4 is probably going to end up being the best season of the show so far because all the arcs are really coming into fruition. We have Gordon's arc of, discovering his own inner darkness. We have Bruce's arc of, just the gradual step-by-step transition into Batman. Of course, we have the Jerome stuff. We have Jeremiah being expertly set up. And everything about this episode, from the music to the production values to the shots to the CG on the blimp and the scale of it all, the timing, the humor, it just all really adds up, Dragon. This is just a really entertaining hour of TV, with the unfortunate exception of all the Barbara stuff, which kind of drags the episode down, in some respects in a very season 1 kind of way. But all the stuff that's not the Barbara stuff is really like, it's blue meth Gotham, if you will.
Yeah. And again, I'm sorry, real quick, again, with that whole, I'm still holding out hope because of that. Ra's is definitely speaking of Bruce's destiny. I'm hoping that Barbara stuff is under that excuse of like, yeah, it was all part of like I'm warning about Gotham getting to a really, really dangerous place here, and Barbara's going to get us that big test for you. So, hoping that comes together. Okay, so final thoughts for me. I really like this episode. Well, again, the League of Shadows stuff. League of Shadows stuff, it's forced, but again, in a way where it could be saved. Again, where hopefully part of Ra's plan. Otherwise, definitely a huge mistake. But this episode is so strong, it makes up for that. It's like one of those things where, oh my god, it's like still it's like a best movie ever, despite some plot holes. Right? And who cares? It's like fine, we need like a little beat plot. We need like a little breather from all the awesome stuff that's happening in this episode. That's where at the end of the day I'm got my eye on this episode. I got my wish with the Jerome arc, with the whole Pale Man of Gotham type, proto Joker story, which again we kind of did before, made it intimate and kind of more awesome. We have a very faithful Joker moment at the end, the Killing Joke ending of it all. It's crazy in all the right ways. It's excellent. It's such an excellent episode, especially when paired with episode 17. Again, I think 17 and 18 are like a great 2-part movie. That gives me hope for this Ra's al Ghul story we're doing next. We're kind of pairing them off in 2s, it looks like, and so far so good. Again, this episode was a great 2 kind of pairing, and the next episode hopefully it would be, and then the last episode most definitely seems to be. So I'm super. The latter half of this season is I think it's probably the best latter half we've had of any of the Gotham seasons. I mean, it's been getting great, and season 4 has been delivering in so many ways. Again, we're going to echo each other constantly, so we keep going back and forth like how amazing this episode is. But it really is like everyone's fitting into their roles, and it just feels like we're setting things up so well for we're 2 bat years away from being where we need to go. So we're one cowl away from from being a Batman show, and it just feels like okay, everything's tying up, everything's tying together. We're getting to that place. It's going to be fantastic. Just solid episodes, top marks all around.
All right, take us out.
Remember, folks, no matter how dark and scary the world might be right now, there will be light. There will be light.
Until next time, when we go exploring Gotham yet again.
Come on, Jim, let's go to the racetrack. It'll be fun. We can have bun cake.
Happy birthday, dear Master B.